Today we're going to be taking a look at the Samsonite suitcases versus more generic Walmart, Target brands. Now, on the right here, I have a Coleman suitcase I picked up from Walmart. On the left is a Samsonite suitcase I picked up from a Samsonite outlet store that I absolutely love. Now, this is their slightly higher end one. Samsonite does sell a cheaper version that's similar sized, but doesn't quite have all the same quality built into it. So I'm going to ask the question, is it worth it to pay the extra amount of money to get a more high-end suitcase versus maybe a basic one? Now, before I do that, if you're new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It's a huge help to me because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. And hopefully we can help you make a purchase decision to find the right product for you. Now, a few things right off the bat. This is going to be my personal opinion. My wife and I travel a lot for business, and we have family that live out of state, so we travel a lot to see them, plus try to get 1 or 2 family vacations in a year. Sometimes for work, it's not uncommon for me to be traveling week after week after week, where there'd be a month or 2 months where I'm traveling every week with one of these suitcases. And I would often take both of these. When I go to a trade show, I will pack my camera equipment, materials to hand out or to demonstrate in one suitcase, clothing and other items in another. It's not uncommon for me to be gone for 3 weeks at a time and I pack this kind of stuff or pack clothing and stuff in both suitcases. So I've traveled with both. I've used both for years now, and I wanted to give you my opinion because I get asked a lot from family and friends that see me with the Samsonite, is it worth the extra amount of money? And I hope to answer that question here. Now, real quick, you probably notice I do have luggage racks on the bottom. This is not a hotel, this is actually my home. And I get asked about these a lot when people come stay with us because I put one in the guest room. These are ones I actually just picked up from Amazon, and I love them. Like I was saying, my wife and I, we travel a lot. Sometimes it's, put the suitcase down, unpack it. A couple days later, I'm back on a plane. I just don't even put the suitcase away. So if you want to find these on Amazon, they're surprisingly not that expensive if you travel a lot, or if you, like me, live out of state away from family that come and visit you, you want a luggage rack to put in their room to make their lives a little easier. I'll put a link to these down in the show notes down below, and I'll link to the Samsonite link down there too if you want to learn more about their products. But let's dive in here and take a look at some of the differences between these two suitcases. Now, to start off with, the suitcases are actually very similar. They have roughly the same storage capacity, and they even have similar pockets within them. And you can see both come with a wet pouch, which I absolutely love, especially when I took the family on vacation. You end up with some items like swimsuits that may be kind of wet. You can throw them in there. Or I would sometimes throw things in there that I would be worried that may spill onto my business clothes, like my toiletries, which is a pretty nice pouch here. Now, I've actually traveled with both of these at the same time. When I would go to conventions, for example, it would not be uncommon for me to have multiple suitcases where one would be camera equipment, business cards, stuff to hand out at the shows. The other one could be clothes and probably more stuff to hand out at the trade shows. So we're going to kind of dive into this and give you my opinion. But let's start off with a few of the things I noticed right off the bat. Now, one of the main things I've noticed is the durability. Now, this is a Samsonite's higher end one. They do make cheaper suitcases than this, but the nice thing about these is they are reinforced when you get the higher end ones. You notice when I push on this, you can see it pushing against the tray at the bottom. There is some pushback. But when I go over here and I push on this, you can see that it just collapses. I can even push it on the corner. There's not the built-in reinforced siding that you will see on other areas. The other thing I've noticed is with the zipper here, let me zoom in here for you. You can see the zipper here is not a bad zipper. It's a pretty decent zipper, but they're actually noticeably smaller than the ones that are used on the Samsonite, for example. Here is I hope I'm saying that right, but you can see here, noticeable thickness difference on exterior ones The width of this is a lot bigger, a little bit longer, a lot more sturdy metal piece here compared to the more flimsy one on this side. So when it comes to things like that, you'll definitely notice minor changes. For example, on the mesh side up here, you'll see these are a lot bigger, a lot thinner compared to the mesh that are on the Samsonite suitcases. The Coleman, they're okay. They're not what I call cheap, but you notice these are a lot thicker strands. There are a lot more of these little holes. It definitely feels like this could take a lot more rugged use. Past that, a lot of this is personal opinion. You know, the shoe pockets here on the side are a little bit different and more. So let me zoom out here and let's take a look at a few other areas, starting off with the wheels for the construction. I think the wheels are probably going to be one of the areas where you notice some of the biggest differences in the quality of the build. For example, you see the Samsonite one here is absolutely a huge, thick rubber wheel compared to the Coleman. Now, this is not a bad quality, but you can definitely tell, you know, that the build quality on this one is a lot higher than this one. Now, not to the point where I'm jumping up and down all worried about it, but like many of these things, like for again, looking at this zipper here, see how that's kind of very thin. They put a big hole in the middle of it to save some money. Compared to this zipper here, there's a big difference in the quality of the materials here. I will tell you, from my experience, when I travel, these ones roll a lot better than these. Sometimes these wheels, you ever get a suitcase that kind of gets a mind of its own and wants to go a different direction. That happens here, where these seem to do a lot better job with it. The other area I noticed that a little bit in the quality is like these handles. You see how this handle kind of sticks out? Doesn't go in quite flush. It's nice to have it. It's, you know, a lot of cheap suitcases won't put a handle on the bottom for when you're picking it up. But the one over here on the Samsonite side is just a lot more rugged. It sits a lot more flush into the suitcase, which I find will limit the catching of that. You see a lot of the same things on the side here. You get this handle here, very thick padded handle, easy to grab onto, easy to hold. And then at the top you get kind of a very rugged looking handle. You compare that to the Coleman, and while they're not bad again, you can definitely tell this is a lot more flimsy. It's not reinforced, it's not padded. And the one on the top isn't quite as well built in or connected. You got the little metal brackets here, little top spokes, but you definitely are left feeling like this isn't as well made. The zipper pockets are actually very similar, but this one's actually missing one pocket. You see there's a large zip pocket in the front, a smaller one, and 3 pockets in total versus just 2 on the Coleman. Let me zoom out here so you can see that. So 2 medium-sized pockets versus 1 large, and then a medium and a small. So really, you get a little bit for what you pay here. Now, the Samsonite gets used a lot more because it's a nicer suitcase, but I actually think it's worn a lot better. But let me rearrange this, come back and give you my final thoughts. Alright, so after showing you some of the key points, you can definitely tell that there's a difference in quality between these 2 suitcases. Even just looking at it, you can see how the Samsonite, even though it's used more, has its shape better, doesn't seem quite as worn as the Coleman one I picked up from Walmart. Now, with that said, this kind of comes down to personal opinion. I'm a businessman. We do a fair amount of travel because family lives in a different state from us, plus we try to take family vacations. So the extra money for the suitcase that I will get a lot of use. You know, I don't think there's been a month in the last year that at least once, maybe even at least twice a month, I haven't used this suitcase on the left. Versus maybe a family who only travels 2 or 3 times a year on average, maybe the Coleman's more of what you want. Now, it's not bad. I've had both of these suitcases for years. You can see the Coleman hasn't broken, the zippers haven't been destroyed yet, but you definitely are left with the feeling that it won't last as long. Now, all things are trade-offs here. You really need to decide, is the extra amount of money worth it for you? And I would say if you're traveling a lot for business, it would be. If you're traveling with valuable material, And you don't want a hard side. I know you can get a hard side. I kind of like the soft side because it's a little lighter. Allows me to pack some more heavy stuff on it. Yes, I am often, when I'm traveling with camera gear and business cards and work material, I push the weight limit on some flights. So having a soft side that's a little bit lighter was important to me, but still having some of that reinforcement on the siding to prevent it from being, when it gets chucked around by airplane baggage handlers. And I get it, you're moving a lot of suitcases really fast. So I understand that, you know, it could be rough. Could be worth it there too. So would you go wrong with both? I really think it's, you know, usage examples, for instance. If you're traveling a lot, I would spend the extra money for sure. If you're not traveling that much, it may be worth it to get the cheaper one. Now, I'd love to know, do you own a Samsonite suitcase like this? I'll put a link to them down in the show notes. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you think the quality was worth the extra amount of money, or are you happy with a Walmart, Target, etc. suitcase that may not be built as well, but is fully capable for what you want it for. Let me know. Leave me a comment. If you're new here, do me a big favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. It really does help us.